Scrappy was unraveling faster than anyone around him could stop it. The man once known for bouncing back from anything, the one who could turn chaos into charisma and heartbreak into hustle, now looked like he was dangling by a thread, barely holding on. His fans could feel it. The smile in his photos didn't reach his eyes anymore. The energy in his voice had dimmed. Even his silence felt heavier, darker. And then the whispers started, chilling whispers that he might have done something irreversible. People close to him started saying it out loud. Scrappy was spiraling, and fast. Ever since Bambi walked away for the last time, he hadn't been the same. He'd dealt with breakups before, even betrayal. But this time, something had shifted deep inside him. Something cracked and it didn't bounce back. Friends tried not to panic at first. Maybe he just needed time. Maybe he was just laying low. But soon it became impossible to ignore. He stopped showing up to studio sessions, skipped business meetings, blew off his closest friends. His Instagram went quiet, and when he did post, it was cryptic, dark quotes, blank screens, captions that felt like silent screams. One night, he sent a voice note to a friend. His voice trembled. "I don't know how to live without her. Man. None of this means anything anymore." That message never left the friend's mind. Then came the post that shook everyone. A pitch-black screen with 5 words. "What's the point of all this?" The internet exploded. Comments poured in by the thousands. Fans, friends, even strangers begging him to hold on, to keep fighting, to not give up. But what none of them knew was that Scrappy was already slipping into a place darker than anyone could imagine. Behind the scenes, things were collapsing. He'd started drinking again. The bottle he swore off for good had become his shadow. One close friend who'd known him for over a decade shared the moment that broke their heart. "I dropped by his place. Man, I didn't recognize him. Empty bottles everywhere. Curtains sealed shut. He was just sitting in the dark, mumbling. He said, 'I can't do this no more. I just want the pain to stop.'" That wasn't Scrappy anymore. It was like his soul had left the room. Days blurred together. Missed calls, unanswered texts, and then silence, a terrifying, deafening silence. His inner circle knew something was wrong. His mother, Mama D, went live on Instagram. Her voice quivered with raw fear. "Please, y'all pray for my baby. He ain't right. I've never seen him like this. I'm scared, y'all. Real scared." Then came the night everything changed. No one could reach him. Phones rang unanswered. Messages left unread. A couple of friends, panicking, drove straight to his place. They banged on his door, calling his name until their fists ached. Nothing. Not a sound. After what felt like a lifetime of waiting, someone made the call. 911. They didn't know what else to do. When the paramedics arrived and forced the door open, what they found would haunt them forever. Scrappy was sprawled on the floor, unmoving. A mess of pills and liquor surrounded him like the aftermath of a silent war. His skin was pale, his breath shallow. One paramedic muttered, "It's a miracle he's even still breathing." His friends stood frozen, tears running down their cheeks, whispering his name, willing him to wake up. One of them said later, "It felt like we were watching him slip away and couldn't do a damn thing." The ambulance ride was a blur of panic and sirens. Word spread fast. Twitter lit up with a single trending hashtag. Hashtag pray for Scrappy. Fans flooded timelines with prayers. Artists, old collaborators, even people who hadn't spoken to him in years, posted heartfelt messages. "Lift him in prayer." One wrote, "Mental health is real. Check on your people." Meanwhile, inside the hospital, Scrappy was clinging to life. Doctors worked frantically, but they gave no promises. The next few hours, one of them warned, will decide everything. Mama D refused to leave his side. She sat by his bed, gripping his limp hand, whispering prayers between choked sobs. "You can't go, baby. Not like this." The beeping of the machines was the only sound in the room. Each beep, a fragile thread tying him to this world. Outside, fans held their breath. The media speculated wildly, and everyone wondered, would he make it? Eventually, the news reached Bambi, and it hit her like a freight train. People close to her said she broke down instantly. Whatever bitterness lingered between them vanished in that moment. She hadn't stopped caring. She never stopped. And now she wondered, had she pushed him too far? Had her leaving been the final straw? She didn't post. Didn't speak to the press. Didn't answer messages. She disappeared into her own bubble of guilt and pain. Friends said she kept asking the same question. Did I break him? There were no answers. Just regret. In that sterile hospital room, hours turned into days. Scrappy lay motionless, a ghost of the man he once was. His mind drifted through fragments of memory, Bambi's laughter, their fights, Mama D's prayers, the flashing red of the ambulance, a voice calling his name in the dark. Somewhere beneath the surface, a flicker of something stirred a reason to stay. A counselor began visiting, gently, slowly, trying to reach what was left of him. Scrappy brushed him off at first. "I'm good, man, just a rough patch." But everyone could see through it. Mama D leaned in one night, fierce and shaking. "You gotta let it out, baby. This pain is eating you alive." He stared at the ceiling, his voice cracking. "I don't know how to do this without her, Mama. Every day feels pointless." She squeezed his hand tighter. "Then don't do it for her. Do it for you." Her words lingered. A small, painful truth he hadn't allowed himself to face. The world could cheer him on. His mother could cry for him, but the fight had to start inside. Then came the moment no one expected. Bambi walked into the hospital room. She stood in the doorway, nervous, fragile, her eyes heavy with things left unsaid. Scrappy's heartbeat jumped. For a second, he forgot how to breathe. All the words he'd rehearsed, all the anger, the sorrow, they vanished. "I never wanted this for you," she said, her voice trembling. His reply was barely a whisper. "Then why does it feel like you did?" She winced but didn't back away. Slowly, she crossed the room and sat beside him. "I thought I was doing what was best for both of us. I didn't want to see you suffer like this. I didn't want to break you." He stared at her, broken. "Then why'd you leave? You knew I couldn't breathe without you." She looked down, her voice quiet. "Because love shouldn't feel like suffocating. We were burning each other down. I didn't know how to fix it anymore." Those words hit like a storm. He wanted to scream, to beg, to curse the world for making love this hard. But deep down, he knew she was right. What they had, it was beautiful, but it had turned toxic. It hurt more than it healed. The room fell silent, buzzing with everything they couldn't say. Finally, she reached out, brushing her fingers against his hand. "I don't know what happens next. But I do know this. You don't get to check out like this. Not on me. Not on Mama D. Not on the people who love you. You matter, Scrappy. You're loved." His voice cracked. "Then why does it still hurt so much?" "Because healing isn't clean. It's messy, it's painful, and it's slow, but it's worth it." She stood up then, tears threatening, and walked to the door. Scrappy watched her go, a lump in his throat. But something had shifted. A door creaked open inside him, just enough light to slip in. He exhaled, really exhaled for the first time in weeks. Maybe, just maybe, he wasn't done yet. The days that followed weren't easy. Recovery never is. Scrappy stayed in that hospital bed, surrounded by sterile walls and the rhythmic beeping of machines that reminded everyone he was still alive, but barely. The weight in his chest hadn't vanished. It just shifted, softened maybe, but it was still there, whispering reminders of all the ways life had broken him. His phone buzzed endlessly. Calls, texts, dismissum from family, others from artists, and fans who had watched him from a distance, now desperate to remind him that his life still mattered. But no number of messages could reach the emptiness inside him. Not really, not yet, really, not yet. Mama D never left. She stayed by his side, sometimes talking, sometimes just holding his hand, like her touch alone might anchor him to the earth. Every time she looked at him, her heart broke a little more, knowing she almost lost him, not to violence, not to a rival, not even to fate, but to the weight of his own sorrow. Scrappy would stare at the ceiling for hours. No music, no noise, just silence. His mind drifted to Bambi. Her laugh, her leaving. The way she walked out the door, without looking back. What haunted him most wasn't that she left, it was how final it felt. Like she had already grieved him, like she had already accepted a life where he didn't exist. And that thought, that's what gutted him. He replayed their last real conversation over and over. The fight, the slammed door, the way she didn't answer his calls after that. He kept asking himself if he could have said something different. Something that might have changed the ending. Then came the day he broke again. Just a few hours out of ICU, Scrappy made the mistake of checking his tagged posts. Social media was still flooded with prayers, but also questions, judgments. Headlines screamed things like, "Where was Bambi? And did she abandon him?" And then came the worst one, a viral video clip of Bambi laughing at an event, Just 2 days before Scrappy's collapse, the internet was vicious, the comments were brutal. And Scrappy. He felt gutted. It didn't matter that people grieved differently. It didn't matter that the video was probably old. All he saw was her smile while he was drowning. That night, unable to sleep, unable to hold back anymore, he did the one thing he swore he wouldn't do. He called her. She answered. Her voice was tired, guarded. "I don't know how to live without you," he said. Choking on the words, Bambi's breath hitched on the other end. "Scrappy," she whispered. "We can't keep tearing each other apart. You have to find your peace, and I have to find mine." The line went silent, then dead, and so did something inside him. The next morning, Diamond, his old friend and fellow artist, showed up. She had seen the posts, the messages, the darkness building again. Something told her not to wait. Not this time. What she walked into nearly broke her. Scrappy was sitting on the floor, surrounded by shattered glass and open bottles. His hands trembled. His skin was pale. He looked at her like a man who'd already said goodbye to the world. Diamond didn't think. She screamed his name, ran to him, and called 911 with shaking fingers. The paramedics came again. The sirens, the stretcher, the cold slap of reality that this man, this icon, this brother was on the edge again. This time, the world wasn't shocked, it was devastated. "Not again," fans whispered. "Please, not again." Inside the hospital, it was war. Machines, doctors, injections. Mama D collapsed into a chair, drained of every ounce of strength she had left. "God, don't take my baby," she sobbed. "Please, not like this." And then, like a miracle, Scrappy opened his eyes. Just barely. But it was enough. He was still here, alive, broken, and now. There was no denying the truth. This wasn't about Bambi anymore. This was about Scrappy versus the emptiness inside him, the love they lost. Might have started the fall, but what kept him in the darkness was something far older, far deeper. Years of burying pain beneath bravado. Years of thinking being a man meant staying quiet. Years of patching wounds with liquor and laughter. That had to end. He started therapy. Real therapy. Not just a counselor with soft questions, but the hard, the kind that tore open old scars. At first, he resisted. Shrugged off the pain with forced jokes. But the therapist wasn't fooled. "You're not here because you're weak," the therapist told him one day. "You're here because you survived." That hit different. He started journaling. Just a few lines at first, then pages. He wrote about the streets, the fame, the pressure, the love, the loss, the loneliness that never left him even in a crowd. Mama D noticed the change. Tiny steps, like he was crawling toward the light again. Then one day, weeks later, Bambi came again. She stood in the hallway for a long time before walking in. Scrappy looked up, surprised but not angry, just tired. "I heard what happened," she said quietly. "All of it." They sat in silence. The tension wasn't as sharp this time, just heavy. Scrappy finally spoke. "Why are you here?" She looked at him with soft eyes. "Because, even now, I can't stand to see you like this." He let out a bitter laugh. "You caring doesn't fix it." "I know," she said. "But, I didn't come to fix you. I came to remind you that you're still here, and that means you still get to try." There were no fireworks. No passionate reunion, just two broken people, sitting in the quiet, finally seeing each other clearly. Mama D stood nearby, her voice low. "Bambi, if you love him, help him. Not as a wife, not as a savior, just as a friend. He can't do this alone." Bambi nodded. "I can't promise forever, but I can promise I won't walk away from the healing." It wasn't everything Scrappy wanted, but maybe it was everything he needed. Because healing, real healing, doesn't come wrapped in love stories. It comes in honesty. In facing the darkest corners of yourself and saying, "I'm not okay, but I want to be." Scrappy began to rebuild. Slowly. He didn't rush back to music. Didn't jump on social media to prove he was back. He stayed quiet, present, focused. He started talking to young men about mental health. He recorded a message from the hospital, voice still weak but eyes clearer than ever. "I almost gave up. Man, I almost didn't make it. But I'm still here, and if you're watching this, maybe that means you're still here too. Don't give up." It went viral. Not because it was flashy, but because it was real. Because in a world full of filtered happiness, Scrappy showed the truth. And that truth saved lives. As the months passed, the darkness didn't vanish, but it didn't own him either. He saw Bambi sometimes. Not like before. Just as people who once loved each other deeply, and now understood each other better than anyone else ever could. They talked, laughed, sometimes cried, too, but there was no pressure to fix what was broken. Only an unspoken promise to never let silence win again. Scrappy still has scars. Deep ones. But now, they're reminders of how far he's come. Not from heartbreak, but from the edge. The man who almost didn't make it. Made it not because of a miracle, but because when everything fell apart, he chose to stay. And maybe, just maybe, that choice will inspire someone else to stay too. The story's not over. Scrappy is still writing it. One day, one breath, one step at a time.